Hello and welcome to sim.bc, where right now it's 13:54. Yes, it is in the bloody day for once. I know, it's crazy. Now, I would like to begin this video directly because it might be a rather short video, and if it's not, I probably need all the time that I can get to talk about what I want to talk about. And that is, sorry for yesterday's video. I'm saying sorry, I'm meaning that I'm kind of semi-sorry for stripping down on camera. It wasn't my intention to just do that without any reason. So today's all about explicitly showing off what that reason might have been. Now, to get something clear off the get-go, what I was trying to show, what I was trying to, the point I was trying to make was that there are many kids out there and many people out there for that sake that are very affected about social media marketing and so on and so forth, and to some extent just what other people around them look like, and they get ashamed of their bodies. But what is important to remember is that people comes in all different forms, shapes and sizes, and colors for that matter too. So I thought, if I can show off that I'm very comfortable in showing off, myself, that would be a visual aid to what I was actually talking about, right? So that was the entire reason for me using myself as kind of a prop in order to further elevate my point. That if I could talk about, being comfortable in my own body, and that you should be comfortable in your own body, showing off that I am, since I was doing it without a shirt, I thought that would be so much greater, right? Some things that I was thinking about after doing the video was, wow, this was a spontaneous idea, because it was. I mean, I was just 5 minutes before that I made that video, I had another plan in mind. So that was just like a spur of the moment. I was like, do you know what would probably be a good idea? This, and this. Let's try and visualize that. Let's try and execute that and see how it goes, if it gets a positive or negative response, and so on and so forth. I'd say it's pretty neutral at the moment, which is kind of good, I guess. I mean, no one's overly offended or overly excited, which in both ways are pretty good. That none are. But yes, the things that I was thinking about afterwards, which was kind of hypocritical in a way, was that I wished I'd flexed more. I know the entire point of the video was not doing that and be very comfortable in what you look like, and realize that people are actually, people look different, and people are looking different when they're relaxed, and when people are posing, they flex. It's important to remember that even the supermodels don't look like that all of the time. They're probably posing in order to get a specific, pose correct, right? We all know that to be true, and yet we try to strive to look like them in our everyday life when we're relaxed, as when they're posing and making themselves super pretty, or looking super strong, or super toned, or super defined, or super ripped, or whatever. So it was kind of a hypocritical statement, in post-productions, I'd say, when I was sitting there reviewing the tapes, so to say, the coach tapes, and I was like, I should have, because I was backing off until here to show off that I actually had some shorts on me. And then I was looking at myself and I was like, mate, where's the posture in that? I mean, you could have been way better. And where's the abs? I mean, you do have them. Why didn't you just show them off? And then I realized, well, the entire point of the video was not showing anything off, right? Just being relaxed, comfortable, showing off that you do not have to flex all of the time when you do not have a shirt on. Which makes sense, right? Because if you do, that's kind of creating a very unhealthy mentality, which many people do have. Now, something I would say, I was gonna say funny, but something that's actually kind of horrible in a way, depending on how you view it and how you watch it. There are things that are more horrible in life, I'll give you that, but just one thing that I was thinking about since I was reviewing this entire idea and this entire problem was that yesterday I was kind of changing at work, changing into my work clothes, and that other fella went there as well. And he's a bit more pluffy than I am, so to say. And you could tell that he was flexing, I don't know how to say this, but he was flexing his stomach so that it wouldn't look as big when he was bending forward as it otherwise might have been if he was relaxed. And first of all, it looks very unnatural when you do that, and people can probably tell from miles and miles away that, wow, that guy's not relaxed. He's probably flexing in order to keep his stomach in, so to say, or more than he was. So first of all, everybody probably will know if you do that. Second of all, it's probably not good for you either to feel like you have to do that. Why not just relax when you do it? And it's just one of those things that, I just talked about the issues, let's say, with kids, and then I realized that there is such a broad demographic for this problem out there, which is also grown-ups, teenagers. I guess teenagers probably fall under the category I was talking about yesterday, but even grown-ups are part of this problem. And when I'm saying problem, I mean they're taking part in building the problem, because it's all about social perception, right? It's all about society creating this, I would say, this perspective on what you're supposed to look like, and then you as a person is looking at that, and you're building your own perception about how you should perceive others and how people should perceive you. And then you would like to try and paint yourself in a positive light, because we all like to do that, kind of like self-promotion continuously, right? We'd like to have people like us and think that we look good. Obviously, that's what we do. Also a reason for why I think that most people think that they're rather cool. Perhaps not all the time in their everyday life, but before they go out and they're all dressed up, I'd guess that most people think that they're actually cool. I'm one of them. Even though, objectively, right, if someone else were to look at me, even though cool is subjective, but let's just say that if everyone in society were to judge me in the point that I'm going out, there would probably be like, you're not that cool, mate. But in the moment I'm going out, I'm thinking, well, I look rather cool, don't I? And I think most people do think like that. And then came the reason for, or rather then came the idea or the problem of, why do I only think that I'm cool when I'm going out? Because that's also a problem. Why do we not think that we're cool in our everyday life? And I'm kind of talk to people about that. Do you think you're cool? And most people are like, no. But I don't know if they're modest or if they're, it's the Swedish lagom culture that everybody's supposed to be on the same level. But it's kind of unhealthy to not thinking that yourself, to think that you're cool. Because that means that you think that there is something that is defined as cool. And in my idea, my perception of cool is just, being yourself, right? And that means that if people don't think they're cool, to me, that sounds like, well, I would like to be cool, but I'm not. Those people are cool, and there's a reason why I can't be cool, because they're cool. And it's just so ludicrous and weird to me that to some extent I think the same way, that, oh, those people are cool, I'm not as cool as they are. And then I'm thinking about, well, that's weird. Why do we think like that? Why isn't cool being yourself? Because being yourself is kind of the definition of being cool, or at least I would argue it to be. Anyway. So the entire idea of yesterday's video was trying to visualize the point I was trying to make, in that you should be comfortable in your body. If I don't have a shirt on, I show off that I'm comfortable enough to talk about it whilst showing off the same thing. That was the entire underlying idea behind it. Now, given I can see myself when I'm recording, I can look straight into the lens, or I can look slightly to the right from me, and I look at myself at the DSLR screen. It kind of shows me, so I can see how much time I have left, and so on and so forth. And I was kind of watching myself the entire time. Is that because I'm very self-conscious? Maybe. Or is that just because I wasn't as sure and as comfortable without the shirt as I thought I would? That could also be the case. But I'd just like to say that I did see myself. So it could have been that I was kind of fixing my posture and flexing a bit unnaturally that I don't normally do, just because I saw myself without even thinking about it. However, the point that I would try to make today is that in retrospect, watching that video, I think it's important that I made it. And many of you will probably be like, well, you don't have that far of a reach. Most people probably won't see this. And why did you do it when there are so many bigger YouTubers who either don't do it and could do it, or have done it and did it better, right? And I would like to argue for that it is important to show off that there are and I kid you not, I wrote this in my notes. The common man, so to say. It's important to show up that we as the common people, just the average person, is also standing for these types of ideals, right? That people should be comfortable in their body. Because after all, if we see a celebrity or a really successful YouTuber, a really successful Twitch streamer or whatever, standing up for, well, I do believe that most people should be more comfortable in their body and what they look like. That's all fine, that's all good, that's all dandy. That will influence and affect a lot of people. However, in order to show off and in order to certify that that has reached the people, it's important that people like myself, that's part of the general community, right? Seen as just the average person, also takes that up and says that, well, yes, it is important. It has reached me, right? It has reached me and others, my peers, so to say. We know that it's important that you should be comfortable in your own body. So it's important that the average person is also taking up arms against this and saying that, well, together we can actually change the social perception of what is perceived to be cool and how you're supposed to be, what you would say, when you're comfortable in your own body. And as I said, I think it's very important that people like us do that, because if we don't do it and we just rely on, you know, celebrities and so on and whatnot saying that, oh, this is how it's supposed to be, but we don't actually acknowledge us that we know that, so that it doesn't actually provide a change, that will just seem like, well, it's really good that they say it, but since we haven't showed off that we know it, the social perception haven't changed, because the social perception is based on what the majority thinks is right. It's kind of horrible and complex in a way. So that is also a reason for why I made the video yesterday, because I would like to show off that even though I do not have millions and billions and trillions of views, right, or subscribers for that matters, or comments or shares or whatever, it's important to show off that these are just solid points of views on life, so to say, that to support everyone and show off that, well, I do not have to have like millions and billions of followers in order to say these things, because they're so bloody obvious that they're right, that, you know, it's just important to show off that, yet again, the average person thinks so as well, to show off that we can together change the social perception, and that I'm part of the way of changing it. Anyway, mates, that was everything from me today. I hope that provided some clarification on my striptease as of yesterday. And the striptease is probably taking it a bit far, right? It was only a shirt coming off, but still, I guess there is a lot of controversy even to that change, so to say. And I would just like to argue and like to add for the fact, which is not good for the point of this video, that I could have had much more favorable lighting when doing that video, but I strategically chose not to, because that would undermine the point of the video. So therefore I had like kind of a light that was straight on me, so that I wouldn't have any favorable shadows, so to say, that would make me look more toned than I was, so that I could try and relax and think that, well, it doesn't matter if I relax or flex, because I am comfortable in my body and what I look like. So that was kind of the idea, right? Kind of the underlying just lighting issue. Anyway, mates, as I said, that was everything for me today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.